Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. When is the last time you changed your wire injector harness on your Td5 Defender or even your Discovery Td5? Well, I haven't changed mine for at least 5-6 years. It's well overdue. It's one of those serviceable items. You may change the oil once a year or twice a year in your Land Rover and do other services, but you'd forget to change your wire harness, don't you? Well, I have anyway. So why do we need to change it? Well, the oil can travel down to the ECU. I think we're all familiar. If you've owned a Td5, you know that the earlier Td5 suffered a lot of problems with oil traveling down the loom into the ECU. So that's why as a serviceable light you need to be changing it every 2 to 3 years. And obviously it's performance as well. You can get misfires, it runs poorly. So I have noticed a few things in mine like that where it's not running right. So I'm going to eliminate that by changing this wire injector harness today. But some people forget to change them or they just don't bother changing them at all. And they only meant to last a couple of years because obviously the wiring loom is actually sitting inside the engine where all the oil is. And what happens then over time, the oil can travel down through the pin. So like I say, I haven't changed mine for a couple of years and it's something that's worth doing. Slightly different on a Puma vehicles because it's common rail, so it's slightly different setup. The injectors are on the outside, where on a Td5 the injectors are inside the engine, and obviously then you've got the oil there as well, and then you've got the wiring loom, the wire harness actually sits on top of the injectors, and obviously then you've got all that oil swishing around. It can break down the wiring, and then obviously then it happens, then you get oil can travel down into the plugs and then into the ECU, then causing a lot of problems. So there you go, this is the injector harness. It sits inside the Td5 engine. There is different types of these wire injector harnesses. Obviously you've got your 10p engine, 15 and a 16 as well. So bear that in mind when you're ordering one of these up to do this job. There you go, got my overalls on, ready to make a start. Got the essential gloves as well. No silly comments, please. Right, let's make a start. So there you go guys, I've taken the sound cover off and now left with these which go all the way around to hold the rocket cover on. I'll take the crankcase breather off, which goes into my Pro Vent oil catcher. Worth getting if you've got a Land Rover or any vehicle really, diesel, worth getting one of them. So I just got to take a screwdriver now and get that off. Probably take the cap off or leave that on. Yeah, so like I said, there's a lot of bolts. You can put fancy bolts. There's a few of these companies now that you can buy little fancy caps and bolts. I think a Live Tuning do a cover. You can have like a hydro dip or something. I think it's like hydro dip or something like that, or powder coated. You can have that done. I was thinking of having that done, maybe have that powder coated a nice colour at a later stage. There's a chunky engine in it, a Td5. I think you've got 5 cylinders in there. Right, I'm going to start undoing these and all that. So then the plug is straightforward enough. There's the plug there, so we'll disconnect that. So I've disconnected the battery as well. It's probably worth doing that as well, guys. But there you go. Right, put you on a bit of time lapse and see how we get on. There you go, so I'm going to just pop this off now. It should come off pretty straightforward. Lift it off. Bit of water there from when I washed it yesterday. I washed the engine down. So you can see the chain, double chained on a Td5. There's all the injectors. Quite clean, to be honest with you, not too bad. So it is about, I think, nearly 5 years since I last changed the injector harness. Right, all you need to do now is unplug this, just like that. So you can check if there's any oil on these. Just run your finger on there or get a bit of tissue on there and just check. But it is clear on there, nothing on there whatsoever. So there you go, I've taken the rocket cover off. Just got to clean things off now. What I'm waiting for is a friend of mine to come over, and he's going to have a quick look at everything for me and see if anything needs adjusting, because he's a mechanic, a retired mechanic, and he's worked on TD5s a lot. So I don't know if he'll be on camera, but you want to make sure everything's clean and everything. So I'm going to have a look at the gasket. I've got a new gasket to go on, but I'll have a look at that one because a bit of a cheapskate to maybe use it if it's not leaking, which it ain't. I can just easily put the new one back on if it does leak, say in a couple of days' time. Yeah, but that's an easy job. Right, I'm going to clean that up now, wait for a friend of mine to come over to have a quick look, see if he needs to adjust anything on it and have a look.
What I'm looking for here is where on the camshaft lobe for the injectors. There's 5 of them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, because it's a 5-cylinder. And looking at the camshaft lobe there for wear, absolutely perfect. Every one of them, nowhere at all.
So that's these where my finger is now.
Yeah. If you look at that one at the back, number 5, that's in the open position with the pear shaped at the top. So he's pushing that one down. Look, he's lower than these.
Right. Okay. Got
so
you.
that one is injecting.
Right. Okay. So that's number 5 at the back.
Number 5, yeah. Then they come through. Then you got to have them on the back of the cam, which this one is near enough on the back of the cam. So this one means that is right up.
Yeah.
And you should slacken that nut off, and that should only go down 1 turn.
Right. So that's to adjust them, I take it, is it?
Yeah, because there should be a little bit of slack in that when it's in that position
Right.
against the spring.
Right. Okay.
But looking at this, it's perfect, Robert. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that at all.
That's good. Yeah. They say I haven't done a lot of miles this TD5, but
No.
it's well looked after.
And it's very clean in there, really, for the mileage. A little bit of stain on there, but.
So is these are the things we're looking at here?
Yeah.
Is it? So I'm trying to get the camera in here.
Yeah. My number 3 on mine was very badly worn. And
Right.
I had to change the camshaft.
Right.
You know, and the trouble is with these rockers, you can't buy them separately.
It's the whole
You've
thing.
got to buy the complete shaft.
Right. Okay. That's a straightforward job to change it, or is it a figgly job?
Well, no, it's not, because you can't get the camshaft out with the head on.
Right.
So you've got to take the complete head off.
Oh, never.
Yeah. And you take the camshaft out. It comes out through this way, I believe. Take that sprocket off. That stays.
So the chain stays.
Yeah, stays there on that sprocket. It's very good, actually, because you can take the 2 bolts out or 3 bolts in there, and that just only drops down a fraction, and the chain never comes off the teeth.
Right.
So the timing between the crank and the cam never alters.
Right. Okay.
So yeah, it's good.
So
Excellent.
there's no adjustment needed, you reckon?
Pardon?
There's no adjustment on these for me, do you reckon, at all?
Well, not really. All you do is have some backlash, which, as is perfect, it's the
Just
same
leave
as
well alone, I suppose.
Yeah, really, there's nothing wrong with them. Mine, it was rough as hell. You know, it was.
And yours was about the same age as mine, wasn't it, more or less? A couple of months difference, that's all.
But I think I had a dodgy one. See.
Yeah.
But that's lovely. There's nothing wrong with that.
Oh, well, thanks for coming over and pointing that out. Because I say,
They'll go on for another 100,000. You know, the way you
Yeah.
change the oil.
yeah. Well, I say I'm doing the wire harness.
Yeah.
Which
I see you got the plug off here.
got the plug off. Yeah, just going to give everything a good clean up first.
You just squeeze all them in to lift them all off one at
Yeah.
a time, and then this just lifts out here, as you
Yeah.
can see.
It's
And put the new one
it's
in.
not a great design. Obviously, you get the oil then travelling down into the ECU, can't you? So.
Yeah, down this pipe here, down
Yeah.
this wire here, yeah.
Oh, thanks for that. Yeah, because not knowing what I'm looking
Yeah,
for.
no, perfect. They're absolutely perfect.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
great.
They're lovely.
All right, so the next job now, after having it all checked over by a good friend of mine across the way from where I live, it's time to take this harness out. So we'll unclip these. You just pop them off. Like so. This last one here, in the way of the camera. There we go. Right, just push this up, out she comes. Yeah, you can see that. What I might do is actually probably I could keep it as a spare, or what I might do is just keep these O-rings and all that. So that's been in there probably a good, probably a good 5 years. Yeah, so yeah, what happens with these is that this wire here breaks down, and then the oil gets in here, travels down into this, into the prongs, into the pins, into the wiring loom, and it makes its way then into the ECU, into the red plug. I'm not sure if it goes into the white plug. I think it's just the red plug it goes into. Yeah, but what happens is these wires go brittle. That's why you need to change this. Every couple of years, change this injector harness every couple of years, because the wire, just say, it breaks down, and then what happens in the oil, like I said, goes down, goes into the prongs here, and it's in the wiring, and then straight into your ECU, and then that's where you have issues with misfiring, not running right. Just yeah, I've seen some ECUs clogged up with oil really bad, and it's just not good. Right, the next job now is to clean that up. So I'm just going to use a little bit of a brake cleaner. Got a little bit of fine wire wool just to clean the face of this up. It's the only thing with a lifted vehicle, everything's a little bit awkward, though I'm tall. Fitting the injector harness now. You got it here. So this is like an OEM one. So what I'm going to do first, I got some of this silicone grease. You see that? So I'm just going to put some of this on those O-rings, just a smidgen on there. Nothing too much. So I'll just give that a wipe all the way around. So if you can see that on there. Right. So this sits in here. And do is just click these on like that. Put that on there, and just give this a bit of a push in. Just like that. There you go. All nice and secure, clipped in. And that's it. Right, the next job for me to do now is just to clean the inside of the rocket cover. I don't have to. I've had a look at the gasket. The gasket looks all right, so I'm just going to give it a bit of a clean up. So I'll bring you back when it's all done. There you go, nicely secure. On there. All that's left for me now is to put the plug on there, which I'll do next. after giving that a good clean. So I'm going to use the original gasket, one where it's not leaking, just giving it a good clean up. If it does leak, then I'll just change it, it's no problem. I've got a brand new one. I could put a brand new one on, but it's not leaking at all, and it's in very good condition still. So, right, we'll fit that next, ready to bolt it all back together. Right, so we're going to put this on. Right, let's get this on. So what I've done, I've just used a bit of this earlier on the gasket. So let's have a look here. This is where sometimes the gasket can come off as you're fitting it, but we'll give it a go, see what happens. It can be a little bit figgly, these sometimes, to line them up. I've got to sit. There we are, just like a glove. I've done a few of these. I've done a few for my friends as well, on these as well. Right, yeah, that looks like it's on lovely. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I've had a few people asking me about these caps. These are Britpart. So they've got power steering and the coolant as well. That's an Ali Sports coolant tank on here. I'll just put that back on for now. Stop any bits from going in. Yeah, but that's gone all right, that is. Right, next job now is to put the screws in and then torque them down to 8 Newton meters. So I've got a little tiny little torque wrench. But what I'll do, I'll put some silicone. I'll show you now what I'm going to do next. So you just see me fit the rocket cover back on. So what I'm going to do with these is I've just given them a bit of a clean. So I'll just fit these back in like that. But before I'm going to fit them back in, I'm just going to put a little bit of this silicone grease, not much, on every single one, and just sort of make sure they go in nice and square and what have you. So it's going to take a time for me to do this. Them on, because the last thing you want to do really is put these on like that. You really want to push these in first. I mean, these are pretty still good to be honest with you. Yeah, don't forget guys, if you like the video, don't forget to comment, like and subscribe, because nearly 85% of people watching are not subscribed at all. So you know, it's a bit disheartening sometimes when you make a video and you don't get many people sort of subscribing or liking. So yeah, I get lots of messages on my Instagram as well, and sometimes I get a few messages on YouTube as well. But yeah, I get a lot of messages on Instagram. Yeah, so if you can hit that subscribe button, it would be much appreciated. Right, I'm going to get on with this, and then I'll pick you up a bit further on. In. I think these get torqued down to 8 Newton meters, so I'll pop them all around, nip them up, and it's more or less done. Let's put the crankcase breather back onto my oil catcher or catch can, and then fire him up. Hopefully she works. Right, let's get them bolted on. There you go guys, all I got to do now is just torque those bolts up, put the crankcase breather back on, and that's it, more or less, job done. So let's get these torqued up, and that's it. Torque wrench set to 8 Newton meters on there. So let's get these torqued up. There you go guys, one injector harness fitted to my Defender Td5. If you liked the video and you found it helpful, don't forget to give it a like, a comment and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one.